The iconic Red Bull Ring at Spielberg in Austria, the home of the Austrian Grand Prix, is also the venue for the third race weekend of the ESET V4 Cup, this Central European combination of touring cars, GTs and single-seater championships. After an exciting start to the season, the Red Bull Ring promises much more, not just in terms of the demanding track, but the weather playing a hand as well, as we venture from Oschersleben in Germany via the Hungarian ring now to Spielberg. Big fields, plenty of action and lots of racing. The recipe for success in the ESET V4 Cup. And as ever, the crowds were treated to plenty of entertainment throughout the weekend. Saturday's endurance encounter was the first race for the GT category. Everybody hoping to perform well. On pole position, Czech ace Filip Salaquada ahead of Piotr Vida.
I think this race is great for me. I try take our position. I want to take the car the best place.
Polish driver starts on the outside front row of the grid in his Mercedes, but experienced Salaquada in the Audi holding his line into the first corner as the Mercedes ran out wide. And as Salaquada started to get his head down and creep away, the battle was on for second place. Fourth place qualifier Libor Milota in the Mercedes, attacking meanwhile trouble for a random Cupra. That brought out a brief safety car. Miro Konopka passing Vera and Peter Barron in the Ferrari to move up to second place behind the pit stop. Salaquada staying out front after the changes, as Kirchmeier had taken over the Ferrari in second place, with Libor Milota remaining in third spot. Dan Peel, who took over from Piotr Vida in the Mercedes, continued to catch, and he worked his way up the order as Salaquada led them. Towards the end, a battle between Kirchmeier and Milota saw Milota slow, and the safety car came out for a final lap.
I think that we have problem on the front axle, and I drive without left tires, yes. It's not so easy time for me and for my teams, because I have a lot of problems on this session, and I hope that will be coming a better time.
As the safety car pulled in for the final lap, it was left to Filip Salaquada to claim victory.
Corner, we were side by side. Then after we had a good pace of the car, so I was quite safe. But then sometimes when you overlap the slower cars, and sometimes I had a moment, but I take it safe when I overtake the slower cars.
Vera and Peel finished second, but took a 30-second penalty for passing under yellows, dropping them to ninth. So Kirchmeier and Barron's Ferrari ended up in second spot, and Miro Konopka third, though he'd been shown the black flag during the race.
Change regulations 2 hours on it, and now we check, and all was correct for regulation. We don't did mistake, and red flag, black flag cancelled.
So Miro Konopka ending up in third place, but victory for Filip Salaquada. In GTX, Bernhard Löffler finished first ahead of Anton Herbeck. Kurt Wagner, Josef Struber dominated in GTC, and in GT4 it was Zeno Kovacs in the BMW M4,
Nagyon nehéz
leading a
verseny
team
volt, főleg az első része. Volt technikai
hard race,
problémánk,
especially early on. Had a few mechanical problems, so we solved them in the pit lane, but we did lose a bit of time, says the GT4 winner. So confirmation of the result then, Filip Salaquada ahead of the Kirchmeier and Barron Ferrari, Miro Konopka from ARC Bratislava in third. The opening race of the GTs, scheduled for Sunday morning, but after a night of heavy rain and some early morning fog, the track was still not quite clear when they were getting ready to go.
It's going to be very interesting because the conditions are right now at the start pretty wet, so it's going to be drying out like during the race, so it's going to be fairly interesting.
Matej Pavlicek starting in his Lamborghini Super Trofeo, and the difficulties were evident on the warm-up lap. Piotr Vera crashing the Mercedes as others struggled as they lined up on the grid. Filip Salaquada on pole. Matej Pavlovic in the Lamborghini Huracan GT3 getting a dreadful start. Salaquada leading from Pavlovic and Joachim Galash as they battled side by side. Pavlicek losing control of the Lamborghini in turn one and rejoining at the tail of the field.
You know, to have a start, start is the most dangerous and the riskiest part of the race. And in these conditions, when the outside is grippy, you naturally go where the grip is. And when there are cars in the inside, on the wet inside, where there is no grip, they are bound to understeer to the cars that are on the outside, on the grippy part of the surface. And that is what happened.
The car's up to 15 seconds slower in the endurance race on Saturday because of the appalling conditions. Filip Salaquada once again was faster, so pulling away from Joachim Galash in his Lamborghini Super Trofeo. Ernst Kirchmeier in the Ferrari being challenged by Libor Milota in the Mercedes for third. Pavlovic getting by Denis Vacek to take GTC behind Joachim Galash. In GT3, Kirchmeier finished second, Milota third, with a gain victory going to Salaquada. Joachim Galash winning in GTC from Matej Pavlovic and Denis Vacek, and in GTX, Dennis Liebel ahead of Bernhard Loeffler and Zeno Kovacs. Start of the second sprint race didn't go as smoothly as hoped for either. Matej Kosic failed to start from the formation lap, so after a few minutes of delay to move the Mercedes, the field of drivers headed into another warm-up lap, and then the race would begin. In turn one, looked as though Joachim Galash would grab the lead, but Filip Salaquada managed to hang on and pulled out front. That left Galash to deal with Matej Pavlovic in their battle for the GTC category honours. And on lap 3, Pavlovic getting by Galash on the outside of the first corner. Denis Vacek stopping briefly, but managed to get going again. Safety car was out for a short while. Pavlovic using the better power of the Lamborghini to chase down Salaquada, but couldn't quite take him.
We had a good weekend because we knew this track is not the best for the Audi, but because it's very little corners and a lot of straights, so that we are not so strong. But we have a good setup. I think we made in free practice some progress, and we did well.
So Salaquada with 2 victories, and he now leads the GT3 category and overall. GTC, Joachim Galash and Matej Pavlicek shared the honours between them, a first and a second apiece. Dennis Liebel ahead of Bernhard Loeffler in race 1 in GTX, Loeffler claiming the race 2 victory, and Zeno Kovacs with both GT4 wins for Trevor Racing.
I hope I can get a good start, and the car feels very good, and I think I have a good chance to win here.
That was Milan Vukovic, pole sitter for the first time in TCR Eastern Europe.
I think P2 is a good starting position, and with a good start maybe it could be P1 after turn 1, then push a bit to get a gap.
René Kircher in the Honda starting alongside, also hoping to take the lead. Vukovic running out wide, Kircher sliding out wider still, and Vukovic somehow managing to hang on. Mato Homola in third place in his Hyundai, defending from Milenko Vukovic. Radim Adamek stopped on the start straight. The safety car was deployed, and then briefly the race got back underway. Kircher starting to push after Vukovic. But then the battle behind Carlos Scheipel in the Hyundai and Adam Kaut. Vukovic claiming victory by a large margin.
It was quite hard at the beginning. I was struggling a lot with the rear tires. They were still cold, but after 3-4 laps.
René Kircher finished in second, Milenko Vukovic in third place.
Unfortunately not good enough to be P1 after turn 1, And then the Renault was super fast on the straights. In the infield and the corners I was much faster, but I just couldn't overtake him because they're too fast. But P2 are very good points for the championship, so I'm quite happy.
Philip Dietrich started race 2 from pole with Carlo Schiepel's Hyundai alongside his Cooper, but David Kajaya in the Honda claimed the lead before the first turn. Sebastian Stiebel in the 23 Audi fought his way up to second place ahead of the Dietrich Cupra. And a train of cars queuing up behind, including number 3 Audi of Giacomo Giamandi. Contact with Milenko Vukovic at turn 3.
He braked too late and goes very wide. And then I just was inside and had a much better exit and was in the front. But however, the guy came back on the straights like he's driving a very different category car.
At the restart, David Kajaya's Honda led from Sebastian Striebel in the 23 Audi and Milan Vukovic in the number 4 Renault Megane. But Vukovic soon had mechanical problems and slowed. Meanwhile, Stiebel trying to overtake. Matto Homola followed them through. David Kajaya won race 2.
It was really tight fight. I'm trying to brake late, to accelerate earlier from the corner to keep the place, the first place.
So Kajaya using all his experience to claim victory in race 2 ahead of Stiebel and Homola. The ACCR Czech Formula field had an exciting first race. A brief shower before the start meant that they would start behind the safety car, all of them mounted in Tartus Formula Renault machinery. As they went green, second fastest qualifier Michael Sauter, number 21, attacked the poleman and leader James Exoghi to take the top spot. Agossi didn't give up, retook the lead from his Swiss rival on the long straight leading up to the second turn. Oliver Michi also managing to move up the order.
I knew that my opponent's tires weren't that warm, so I was just trying to make a move and try to see what his response going to be. And at the end, I think it was worth it. And but yeah, we had an older tire, so it was difficult.
Sauter overtaken by René Francot, number 28. Sauter trying to retake third place, but Francot defending hard. Meanwhile, Dane Matthias Jakobsen passed Sauter, but in the end, Sauter came back on top. Towards the end, the Thai driver, Nudavad Bikombadi, came under pressure.
The track was a little bit damper than it was in quality, so I was trying to get the feel for it. But then once I got into my rhythm, it was smooth sailing.
So victory for James Agossi. On Sunday, he started from pole again, holding on to the lead under pressure from his Thai rival, and Michael Sauter battling the Thai driver for second place. And light contact between Biram Bhakti and Sauter. Sauter went off into the gravel and was joined by others. After 3 laps, they restarted. Agossi pulling away once more from his rival to claim a second win. Dutchman Franco coming second, and Birkombadi taking third.
So far this entire weekend, I've just been the quickest, and our pace on the team has been really good.
So confirmation with James Agossi taking both wins, and Birkombadi dropping out of the podium in race 2. Well, that's the action from the Spielberg Ring. They head next to Most in the Czech Republic in August.